everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we are going to be talking about the latest film from one of the greatest to ever do it, Martin Scorsese, and that movie is called Killers of the Flower Moon. This was originally released in theaters on October 20th, 2023, financed by Apple and Paramount Pictures with a budget of about $200 million. So eventually this will end up on Apple's streaming service, Apple TV+. Not too sure when that exact date is, but you could check this out in theaters right now. It was co-written by Martin Scorsese and Eric Roth, based on the book of the same name by David Grant, and this was a real passionate project for Martin Scorsese. He's been trying to make this movie since before the book even came out. His production studio bid on the rights for the book for about $5 million. Him and Leonardo DiCaprio wanted to really make this movie, and originally Leonardo DiCaprio was actually going to play the FBI agent in this movie that is played by Jesse Plemons, but they kind of rearranged the script, and Leonardo DiCaprio actually wanted to play Ernest Burkhart in this movie, the nephew of Robert De Niro's character, W.K. Hale, or William King Hale. Everyone calls him King. He runs this town and everything goes through him, and he gets his nephew and his nephew's brother a job in this town and basically trying to give them a good life like himself, and of course he's trying to control everything as well. And at the same time this is all gone, all of a sudden these murders start to happen because this town is full of black gold, or oil. They found oil, which means that everybody in this town is rich, pretty much. Everyone is very wealthy. They have money that's going to be running for generations, and of course some other people have their hand out for that money. They do not want to see these Osage Indians succeed, and this is based on the true story of the Osage Indian murders that took place from 1918 to 1931, where about over 60 Osage Indians actually passed away. So Martin Scorsese really wanted to tell this story, and he tells it in epic fashion, over 3.5 hours long, and you do feel that length, but of course it's Martin Scorsese, so you know it's a very, very well crafted film. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Probably one of Martin Scorsese's best looking films that I have ever seen. You know, I complain a lot about how modern cinematography looks, how it looks very digitally and overexposed. You don't got to worry about that with Martin Scorsese because he likes to work with a lot of the same people, including the score of this movie was done by the late Robbie Robertson, what will be his last score that he's ever done. A close friend of Martin Scorsese. Obviously he was in the band that The Last Waltz is based on. They had a great long-running relationship, and the score for this film feels very much of the 1920s. They did a fantastic job of that. Anytime the licensed songs are in this movie, it is of that time. So it might not feel like other Martin Scorsese movies. Like, yes, this is one of those sprawling crime epics like he does with movies like Goodfellas, The Departed, Casino, even The Irishman, but it's not as fun as those movies. This is a very serious subject matter, and this movie I would describe more as sad and tragic. And that's exactly what Martin Scorsese wants you to feel when you're watching this movie, that this is an American tragedy, this movie. He wanted to tell you this story so you could see it for yourself, and he actually took a lot of input from the Osage Indians once they started filming there in Oklahoma so that they could tell the story the right way. This is what Martin Scorsese wants to do with the rest of his career, is tell these stories before he passes away. This one was very important to him. Now, is it the best film that Martin Scorsese's ever put out? No, I don't think it is. If this was one, I'd probably say it's probably in that 10 to 15 range as far as his greatest films go, but I've only seen it once, so this could grow on me, obviously. I just felt like, yeah, it's 3.5 hours long, and I don't know where I would cut from it, but there are points in this movie where you're going, this does feel a little too long. And also, some of the acting performances, the three leads, Lily Gladstone, Robert De Niro, and Leonardo DiCaprio, all could be nominated for Academy Awards for this film. They all do fantastic jobs. Lily Gladstone is amazing, but I still think that Leonardo DiCaprio gives another career best performance. Unfortunately, this is also the same year that Cillian Murphy's performance in Oppenheimer came out, and I still think Oppenheimer and Cillian Murphy are both a better film and a better performance. So Leonardo DiCaprio, I would support him getting nominated, but I don't see him winning this year, but still, he does a great job. Robert De Niro showing everyone that he can still act. Lily Gladstone giving a star-making performance. A lot of the supporting roles are great as well. Jesse Plemons, I actually expected him to be more in this movie than he actually is, but when he is in the movie, he does a great job. It's just nothing too special. I felt like one of the weaker performances in this movie was actually Brendan Fraser. I feel like he's in a way different movie than everybody else. He's overacting his ass off, and it just doesn't really make sense. We've kind of seen this in other Martin Scorsese movies, because this movie does have some certain scenes where it is a little bit funny, it'll get a laugh out of you, which Martin Scorsese likes to put in a lot of his movies, a lot of dark sense of humor that he has. So there are moments in this movie where I heard the whole entire theater laughing, and maybe that's kind of what Brendan Fraser's direction was, but his character is in a more serious part of the movie, so it doesn't exactly make sense for him to be acting that way. Nobody else around him is acting that way, so I felt like he was either miscast or he was misdirected, and he's the weakest part of this movie for me. And it really does hurt me to say that. I absolutely love Brendan Fraser, but I gotta be honest, that's how I felt watching the movie. And overall, this is a fantastic film. It's one you're going to want to see on the big screen. So if you can get out, it is in IMAX theaters right now. But if you can't, eventually this will end up on Apple TV Plus, and you can check it out there. And it's definitely worth your time. Even at 3.5 hours long, it's a story that you should see. And you're not going to see it done better than this. It cost over $200 million, and you see it all on the screen. It looks, sounds gorgeous. It's well directed. Of course, it's Martin Scorsese. It's never really boring. You're going to have a great time. And it's a story you should see. If I was going to give this film a score of 1 to 10, I would give this film a 9 out of 10. I can definitely recommend it. And guys, if you enjoyed this review, nothing helps the channel out more than just by you simply liking this video, subscribing to this channel, getting out in those streets, and telling your friends about us. And we will be seeing you around.